Hi Riz, I've been watching your channel since the Omega Ruby days. Loved your energy. Been watching you since. Have you ever played Monster Hunter Stories? And will you ever consider it? I've never played Monster Hunter Stories. No, I'm not even sure what that is exactly. Like, I'm aware of Monster Hunter as a franchise, but I know there are some like spin-off games, so I don't know if that's one of them. I've played Monster Hunter 3 or whatever for the 3DS. I feel like there was more to that title, but probably just like a little subtitle or whatever. I don't know. And I played some of Monster Hunter World, I want to say. I didn't beat either of them. I didn't get very far. Like, it was one of the, they were both a game that I enjoyed for a little bit, but it just didn't hold my attention for very long. So I don't think it's one that I would really consider playing, probably. I just, because if I wasn't able to like play it through to the end, like keep the, attention, or keep the interest rather for myself, I don't know if I'd be able to do it like as a let's play, just because of the pressure and if people in the comments are jerks about like, oh, you should play the way that I want you to play, because people are like that. So you never know. Future's vast, but probably not. Hey Riz, I was wondering, how has life been for you? How is it treating you? Just wondering how you're doing. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Life is treating me fine. Like, as much as I've talked about, how like I'm not happy with myself or where I am or whatever, it's not because of like life really. It's, you know, because I haven't been through like a bunch of hardships or anything. Not really like bad stuff has happened. It's just that I don't do things, so I don't progress my life and I don't make good things happen. It's just kind of like, every day is kind of the same. And I, just like I have some ups and downs, I, freak out now and then unnecessarily for the most part. But the issue is just like the older I get, like the more time I feel like I've wasted, the fewer opportunities I feel like I have, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I appreciate the question. Again, sorry for being a bummer. I really don't want to be, but I don't want to lie. So, I'm doing fine. Like, I'm all right, I'm not in like a really dark place or anything like that. I'm just not that happy. What are some future game releases that excite you? Pokemon game releases excite me, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 excites me. Aside from that, I really don't pay that much attention to game releases, so that's about all I can say for this question. Mustache Riz, yes. Okay, if you were the deity of an emotion, what one would it be? Huh. Now, does this mean like what emotion would I pick to like have mastery over for the sake of having mastery? Or is it more like what deity do I represent based upon how I currently am living or whatnot? I don't know. And also, like, the definition of emotion can be kind of iffy. Like, some people consider love an emotion, other people don't. And I'm not saying that's what I'd pick, just as an example. Deity of an emotion. I'm going to say that passion is an emotion. It might be a stretch for some people, but I'm going to say, for the purposes of this question, passion is an emotion, and that's what I would want to be the deity of. And not so much, like, sure, I'll take passion all-encompassingly, but not so much, again, in the, like, romantic aspect of passion, but more just the, like, the determined, the motivated, the progressing passion, the excited. That's what I would want. And yeah, that would definitely be like so that I would have mastery over it, and not because I think I'm representative of it. That's why I wanted that clarification at the beginning. You were having a final stand battle and it's all or nothing. What is the name of your big special attack for that kind of situation? Oh no. Maybe just something like, please just stay down, in hopes that they will stop fighting me, because if it's all or nothing and they get back up, I'm gonna be like, oh crap. Don't you hate it when someone doesn't finish typing out their question? Riz, what's your opinion on fanfiction? Have you ever thought of reading Death Battle fanfictions? That was a mix of fanfiction and fanfics, and reacting to them. I think that fanfiction is great. I personally don't really read fanfiction, but I think that it is an amazing outlet for creativity, a way for people to connect to fandoms, whatever that they love. So fanfiction, I love it even if I don't personally engage in it. Have you ever thought of reading Death Battle fanfictions and reacting to them? No. Death battle fan fictions don't really make sense to me because, I mean, like, is that just them picking characters and having them fight? Because that doesn't have to be a death battle. Is that them actually doing research and writing out basically a death battle script of that for like the, the analyses portions for the conclusion, etc.? Is that taking two characters or more that were in death battle and like shipping them? I don't really understand what death battle fan fictions means. But it doesn't sound like something that I would really be interested in, just given, again, why I like death battles, which is about learning about the characters and how they would match up. What's life been like for you during the pandemic? You couldn't hear much from me due to stuff going on over there. Well, I hope that everything is all right over there now, at least. Life for me during the pandemic was really not that much different for me. Just because I was already a social recluse for the most part, like I stopped going out more often, but I didn't go out that often to begin with. Most of my interactions with friends were all online anyway, in large part just because I didn't really live near people. But even when I did, like we were typically just busy, or we were far enough away where we couldn't like justify like seeing each other between like school and work or whatever. So like it was definitely scary, but more so just seeing what the world like could devolve to in a lot of situations. But my day-to-day life was not that much different. I went on walks less often because I used to just enjoy like just going out for a walk in the neighborhood, and I would think of story ideas or like role play characters or things like that. And, just to get out and do something. But during the pandemic, I didn't want to even go outside because like it was so awkward if you would run into someone. Like I would cross the street if I saw someone coming down the sidewalk toward me, especially because most of the time they were maskless because people are stupid. So yeah, for the most part, nothing much changed for me aside from just, again, like the general fear that it caused, and like worrying about my mom, but thankfully that was at least near the beginning of the pandemic and then she got over that. So yeah, but please, come on, let the pandemic end already. It won't. It never will because people were dumb and now it's just too widespread. Thanks, dumb people. Anyway, Mifa, Riz, when are you coming back? We miss you. For those wondering, Mifa is a speedrunner for Bendy and the Ink Machine. And we did quite a bit together, routing it or like finding new things, just kind of like racing each other in the game. Like he was holding world record for the longest time. And I think I was the first person to be able to like beat him. And then he promptly beat me. And then I ended up beating him again. And then he promptly beat me once more. And since then, I think he's second place, I want to say. I think it was like Scammer Palmtree or someone was in first. Either way, though, no, he's an amazing runner for Benny and the Ink Machine. So to answer your question, actually, Mifa, when am I coming back? My plan was to come back once Bendy and the Dark Revival came out, which I had thought was going to come out I thought it was going to come out October 2020 or 2019 even, actually, I think. It's hard to say for sure. I thought it was going to come out some Halloween before the pandemic actually started. And then it didn't, and it still hasn't come out. And I don't know if it ever will come out because of all the like drama and controversy with, the company. So, yeah, I don't know. As for like just coming back to Bendy and the Ink Machine without Bendy and the Dark Revival, so like strictly for the Ink Machine, I just don't know. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm willing to like just grind for the perfect like RNG to get the best time and everything. Like I don't love being in 7th place or whatever place I am in right now, considering, what I was able to do, like the place I was in before. But like I'm still happy with like the time saves I was able to contribute to the run. I still, look back fondly on like the times that I did spend. But like I'm not currently willing to commit to just that grind of like getting things perfect. If like big skips were found, I think I'd want to like return, to try those out at the very least. But last I asked, nothing like that was found. And as far as the Discord is concerned, a lot of people have joined the Discord, and that's great for like the life of the Discord itself. But from what I saw, I don't exactly mesh with that sense of humor that a lot of people, like active people in that Discord currently have. And it can be difficult for me to keep up with like, servers like that anyway, just because I'm not always in the mood to socialize. And then when I think like I've missed out on a bunch of stuff, then I'm like kind of further discouraged because it's like, well, it would take so long to like be able to catch up by that point, no one would be interested, but I still feel like I have to, so I guess I'll just not, you know? So, yeah, but, love you all the same. You can still, like, if you want to talk to me, DM me or add me in the server, and, like, you know, if I'm available, then, like, I'll, you know, be happy to chat, but, you know, you don't do that, so. Yo, Riz, I love your death battle reactions. When are you going to be watching 1 Minute Melee or DBX? That's, like, a very presumptuous way of asking. Glad you like my reactions. I don't plan to react to 1 Minute Melee or DBX, or frankly, I don't even plan to, like, watch them. Like, it certainly could happen. I'll say that one of the things that I've been, like, very loosely considering is if I finish reacting to death battle, or, like, eventually I will, right? Eventually I'll run out of death battles, and, like, I'll be waiting for them to make more. There's a possibility that once I reach that point, I can fill in the gaps with, like, DBX reactions. But I'm not promising anything. That's just something that I've had in mind. If you have watched this far and you're interested in that, let me know down below. Who are your top 5 mains in Smash Bros. Ultimate? I think I've played Smash Bros. Ultimate literally one time. Like, I think I fought an NPC, you know, and that was it. So, I don't know. Like, the last Smash game I really played was for the 3DS. So it was quite some time ago. And even that one, I didn't play a ton. Like, my biggest were Melee and Brawl. With the 3DS, that's when I started falling off, because with the 3DS, like, I was only playing solo. I wasn't playing with friends, and it wasn't as fun that way. And by the time, like, the next one came out, like, you know, there was, like, console issues, or just, like, distance issues of, like, I can't go hang out with this person, they're too far away, or just our times, we don't match up. But, like, I really didn't have 5 mains, I didn't think. My 2 mains, like, Fox was pretty consistent from, like, you know, generation to generation. Excuse me, in the Smash Bros. Games. And then in the 3DS one, I played Shulk quite a bit. So I'll go with that. Fox and Shulk. Will you ever play Crash Bandicoot games? I think you should give him a chance. It was one of my favorite childhood franchises. I recommend the trilogy remakes, Crash Twinsanity or Crash 4. I'd love to see you make a Let's Play on one of them. It would be great. Well, thank you. Yes, I would consider playing them. I actually was considering it around the time, you know, like I played the Spyro Reignited trilogy, or I played the first game, right? But I also own, yeah, the Crash Bandicoot, like, Insane Trilogy, I think is what it was called. But I own that on Steam, so it's definitely a possibility. Just one of those things, like, I have to be motivated to do so. I have to think that people are interested. Wink, wink. So, did you like how I didn't even attempt to wink there? So, yeah. Are there any anime you want to watch but haven't gotten around to watching yet? Yeah, I mean, first I just want to finish My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball. But aside from that, well, I'm curious to finish Log Horizon, because I had started watching that, I was enjoying it, and then I just stopped for no reason, and I never started again. But I was enjoying that one. And along those lines, I'm interested in seeing, like, what Dot Hack is about. I've heard good things about, like, Evangelion. I think I'd say, maybe that's not how you pronounce it. No, I'll just stick with those for now. I'll stick with those, yeah. Oh gosh, favorite death battle from 2011. Let me go check their YouTube channel. So for the purposes of this question, I'm going to say that from 2011, I'm just looking at their YouTube channel. I sorted by date, oldest, right? Anything that says 11 years ago, that's fair game. So we have a number of different options. And based on what I'm seeing here, of course, Starscream versus Rainbow Dash says 10 years ago, not 11. Because it was great seeing Rainbow Dash in a death battle. I think I want to go with Goomba versus Koopa. You know? Just because, like, it was such an innocent and fun death battle from what I recall. With the animation, like, there's just a Goomba and Koopa, like, just fighting it out. And, like, it's, like, obviously, because death battle, but it's just fun to see that. Yeah, screw it. I'm going to go with that, yeah. Goomba versus Koopa. That's my favorite death battle from 2011. Not remembering, like, anything from any of them, but I'm gonna say that. Since you played Batman Arkham City on your channel, would you play Arkham Origins, Arkham Asylum, or Arkham Knight? I've already played Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum, also on my channel. You find the playlist for them. Arkham Knight, I didn't play for 2 different reasons. One, when it came out, everyone was saying that, like, everywhere I looked, it was all just, like, graphical glitches, and it kept crashing, etc., etc. Like, it was the worst in that regard of all of the Arkham games. And then 2, I was kind of just a little bit burnt out of the Arkham games by that point, you know? In part because like a lot of the comments I remember getting from those were about how I was bad at the game for X reason, right? And it just wore me down. I was like, well, then stop watching if that's what you know, or at least stop saying it. I think I'm doing fine. Um, but like even computers with just like good specs or whatever seem to be struggling with Arkham Knight, and my computer had already been struggling with the previous ones, and so I was thinking like, oh, there's no way that it's gonna work out well if I tried to play it, so I just never did. But if you want to watch the others, yeah, you can check out my playlist. You'll find them if you search them appropriately. How are you? Like, how's life? Doing good? I hope so. Thank you, Standard Vlogger. Previous depression, anxiety chats, that kind of thing. Yeah. So like, life's all right. I don't love it, but like I'm fine. Like physically, there's nothing, and I'm not gonna hurt myself or anything like that. Yeah. Doing good? No, but I'm all right. Thank you for asking. Are there any TV shows you're enjoying right now? Are you a fan of the Karate Kid / Cobra Kai franchise? I think I partly saw like one Karate Kid video, years ago, like when I was like graduating junior high, and didn't pay a bunch of attention because it was one of those things where it's like there were a bunch of like girls there, and I was like, my attention split, and so I don't remember much at all about the movie. Any TV shows I'm enjoying right now? Recently I started watching Stranger Things with my mom. She really wanted to get me into it, and yeah, no, it's a great show. So we're working on the final season, or like the last season that came out at least. We're working on that right now, so that's been good. Aside from that, like, just trying to catch up with My Hero Academia, and then plans at some point for more Dragon Ball. What will you be doing once you finish school, and what does this say about the most underrated channel on YouTube? First, I appreciate that end. That's very sweet of you to say. What will I be doing once I finish school? Well, unfortunately, I finished school quite a while ago now. It's been almost 2 years, and I still haven't done anything. Believe it or not, I have actually applied to jobs that are relevant to a Master of Arts in English. And just, I haven't heard back from a single person. Okay, that's a lie. I heard back from one person, and it turned out that job application was a literal scam. So that was nice for my ego. But yeah, no, I have no plans. So you've been playing a lot of old games recently. For instance, Fox-Star Adventure, which is not what the game is. So why have you not tried games that are more popular from the same years? Say Dragon Quest, Gungrave, DMC, or even Kirby Ultra Star. Because I'm not here just to please you, Connor. I am here to entertain people and myself. And so, while you say those are the more popular games, I kind of get the feeling those are just games that you like and want me to watch or play, So, I don't know. Yes, I'm a little bitter about your question. But no, like, I was playing, like, I'd gotten a capture card to work, right? And so I was just excited about that. And I was like, okay, what games do I own that I want to revisit because I remember liking them and I want to share in that experience with my viewers? Like, that's why I was picking those games. So no, it's not because I wanted a bunch of different like PS1 or PS2 or whatever recommendations where people are like, these games are better than the ones you're playing. No, it's because I wanted to share something that was special to me. Do you feel bad? Hello, Riz Grestar. This may be an annoying question, but what is your favorite JoJo's Bizarre Adventure protagonist and part? If you haven't seen it, then what is your favorite band? Yeah, I've never seen any JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so I couldn't tell you. My favorite band? That is a good question. I'll say this time, I think I'll say Linkin Park. I loved Linkin Park growing up, and like revisiting their songs, like I still think that they're great. And the nice thing is they have a good variety. Ooh, you know who else has a good variety though? Nine Inch Nails. I also love Nine Inch Nails. I'm gonna before I think too much about a bunch of different bands, because there are like obviously a lot of really good bands. Yeah, Linkin Park and Nine Inch Nails, I'll say, are my two favorite bands right now. But obviously a bunch of other good ones. Like I grew up loving Daft Punk and like Evanescence. Recently, like I discovered Electric Callboy, which has really good and funny songs. If you like kind of yelly, screamy songs, but silly too. Point is, a lot of good bands. Going with those. Are there any hobbies you'd like to get into? I would like to be able to like have the motivation to write more frequently. because I do really enjoy writing when I like get down to it. Um, but it's so difficult to actually do. I would love to be able to like draw, paint, animate, but I don't think that I don't think I'm good at those. So I'd love to be able to do them, but I'm not willing to put forth the effort, and so I don't deserve to be good enough, good at them, right? Reading would be great. Like I keep purchasing books. Like even now, I still not new books, but like I'll go to a thrift store and I'll find books. Like that's the reason I go to the thrift store is I go straight to the book section and like I'll buy something. And I haven't read a book for pleasure since I think 2019. And then there was another like similar gap before that, right? Like I love reading and I never do it. It's so sad. Um, I would love to look more into like game development or like general programming. But programming, it's similar to like learning languages for me, where it's like I'll feel like I'm going like pretty well for a little while, and then I'll run into a snag where it's like, oh no, this is above kindergarten level, and I'll just end up stopping. In part because I don't have people to share that stuff with, and so the motivation eventually just like it dies down. But there are a number of hobbies that I would like to get into, or just to like get into more. What is your most wanted death battle matchup? I don't really have one. I'd just like to see characters that I'm familiar with so that I have some sort of personal connection going in and more reason to enjoy like learning more about them. Awesome video. Thank you. I have a quick question. Will you play Kirby and the Forgotten Land? I don't have any plans to. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what like system it's on. So I might not even have the capability to like play it. So probably not. Maybe in the future at some point, because who knows? But yeah, no plans. Riz, do you do death battle research? I do not. The only death battle I had done research for, I think actually there were two. And when I say research, obviously it was personal research. The biggest one, the one I thought of initially, was Scout versus Tracer, where like I did research for it, trying to find like, I watched their videos that they had, like Meet the Scout, or, Tracer's like Overwatch video, right? And I looked at like their wiki pages, and, I'd played both Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, and so I tried to pull like data from that. I actually tried to determine the winner from that. I think the only other death battle I did some research for, and not nearly to the same extent, was I think like Fulgore versus Sector or something like that, right? But it was more just to get like a general understanding, like what game they were from, and what are some of the general like numbers that I could get from them. What are some of the general feats? But aside from that, I don't think I've looked up like anything about any of the others. Just go in for like a blind experience and listen to what the analyses, have to tell me. Are you going to react to things other than death battles? Technically, like I still plan to react to Starter Squad when that episode comes out, but like aside from that, I don't have plans to. I never wanted to be a reaction channel, Like I always wanted this to be a Let's Play channel. Like from the beginning, that was the plan, was have this be a Let's Play channel. And then my brother was like, hey, you should react to this death battle video. It has this character that you really like. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure, why not? This will be a fun little side thing. And then I did. And then, people wanted to see more. And so I did more. And then people wanted to see more. So I did more. And then that quickly became like the most popular thing on my channel. And so at that point, I was kind of roped into doing it. And not to say, again, that I didn't enjoy it. But, I didn't want to be a reaction channel. And that was very quickly dominating my channel. So are there other things I want to react to? Like, not really, That's not to say that I never will, but yeah. Also, I reacted to horror movies, and not a lot of people watch those, and I'm upset about the fact, because it took a lot of, like, I had to push myself to do so, and I had to work to avoid copyright issues. Appreciate me more. Just want to ask, how are you holding up? I appreciate the question. I'm doing all right. Yeah. No, I just wish my life had gone differently. I wish that I'd made different decisions. I wish that I didn't have the same issues that I do. I wish that I just were, more successful, and I wish that I were happier. And, I wish too that my family were happier too, because, they're in the same boat. We all struggle with anxiety and depression to different extents. Like, honestly, I think I have it the best in my family. And that's, that says something. But, yeah, I am doing all right. Thank you for asking. I wish that things were different and better. But that's on me. Considering you started doing death battle related videos again, have you perhaps considered doing a collab video with Nemesis Bloodreich, another YouTuber with similar content? No, I have no idea who that person is. I'm sure they're lovely. But I've never considered that. I have no desire to reach out to people to do collaborations. What is your favorite music genre and favorite artisan bands? I tend to prefer heavier stuff. You know, like various types of metal, you know? Not so much classic metal. Other things. But of course I can enjoy other things, like other genres rather beyond that. But typically just upbeat stuff. Things that have higher energy to them in some way. So I can definitely enjoy like alternative rock and things like, things like that. And that's not to say I only enjoy high energy stuff too, because you know, you pull up like Evanescence songs, and a lot of those, like Lacrimosa, you know, that's not a high energy song, but I do like it. And then Weird Al too, you know, he doesn't have like heavier content, like screaming or whatever, but I thoroughly enjoy Weird Al stuff. So I, you know, I have a wide taste in music, I would say, fairly wide taste. Favorite artisan bands? Yeah, you have Linkin Park, you have Weird Al, you have Daft Punk, you have Nine Inch Nails. Electric Callboy. Varian has some songs that I really like. I just haven't experienced a lot of his work. I'm gonna go with that. How are you doing today? I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you? Have you ever seen Invader Zim? Not really. It was one of those shows that like we didn't have on our because we just had like normal public television, you know, we didn't have access to cable or anything like that. So I didn't have access to Invader Zim. And one time, one of my older brother's friends visited from out of state. Like they used to live across the street from us, you know, then they moved, and then years later she visited. And she brought me a little gift, and it was Invader Zim shoelaces with Gurr on them, you know, like in his little green dog costume. And I recognized the character from like pictures I'd seen on the internet, but I had no idea what he was from or what he was like. It was just a weird thing. But I just associate that memory with Invader Zim. Because, yeah, I've never really seen it. Just little clips. Got a crush on anyone? That's hard to say. I would say that there are people that I would be happy to try dating. But to say I have a crush at this point, that's trickier. I noticed you played Xenoverse 2 and are wearing a Majin hat. Yeah. Have you watched Dragon Ball Z? I have watched some of Dragon Ball Z. I've watched all of the original Dragon Ball, and I watched all of the original Dragon Ball Z up through Frieza being killed. And then I started watching Dragon Ball Z Kai, because I wanted it to be a little faster, you know? I wanted to cut out like all the filler. So I started watching Kai. And I'm currently at the point where Cell just became perfect Cell. Like he just absorbed Android 18. So I still have a good ways to go because, you know, I have the Cell saga to finish off, and then I have, you know, the Majin Buu saga. I don't know if there are things between that. And then I have Super and GT, which I showed before. But yeah, so I have seen Dragon Ball Z, but not in its entirety. Out of all the video games you played, which one is your favorite and why? I'll go with Pokemon as my favorite, specifically Generations 1 and 3. So if I really had to pick, it would be between like Ruby version and Fire Red Leaf Green. Because Ruby was one that I grew up with, and you know, I just love it. And then Fire Red Leaf Green, I think, is like a great mix between the mechanics of Gen 3 and like the actual game and the Pokemon of, you know, Generation 1. But I also really love like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And you know, for a long time I would say that my favorite like video game franchise was Star Fox, but it was really more for the characters and the world that it presented, not as much for the games, because while I do really enjoy the games, from Star Fox 64 or Lilac Wars, depending on how you know it, Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault, like I had a great time with them, lots of great childhood memories, and you know, and more recent memories with having played Star Fox Adventures on my channel. But, you know, like, they're not my favorite games of all time. I love what it introduced me to. Like, I think that was my biggest introduction, too, to, like, the furry world, like, furry fandom, which I'm a part of to, like, a minor extent. Like, you know, don't really have an interest in fursuiting, that kind of thing. It's more just an appreciation for the art and the characters. But, yeah, so, favorite games, there you go. What is one of the most frustrating things about YouTubing that you wish your viewers would understand more about? For me at least, I think a lot of it is the a lot of times I feel like or underappreciated. I don't think that people realize just how much work goes into like a single video, or can go into. Obviously it depends on the video. Obviously it depends on the YouTuber and like their kind of style. But like recently I've had people be like, why do you only react to Death Battle once every 2 weeks? Why don't you upload a reaction every day? And I got mad because first off, I have been uploading a Death Battle reaction every single week, not every 2 weeks. And on top of that, it's been hard for me, and I was proud of myself for being able to do that, one every week. And so then to have the bloody audacity to be like, why don't you upload one every single day? Like, you can piss right off. I don't care if you never watch another video of mine again. I hate you. So I think that people just don't understand a lot of the work that goes into it. From recording it, to editing it, to rendering it, to uploading it, to, engaging, even though that's part of the joy of it, obviously, is like the creation and the engagement afterward. Like it can take a lot out of you. And so I wish that more people understood that, like, yeah, I am playing video games, or I am watching, like a cartoon or whatever, right? But it still can be really taxing, and it can still take a lot of time and commitment and effort. And I do wish more people understood that. And like another thing very closely related is, like, I'll work really hard on something, or I'll just be excited about what people will think about it or whatever, and then like it will briefly be on someone's mind, and then it's gone, it's done, it's in the past. It's like I worked really hard on the Doki Doki Literature Club April Fool's thing, and then it didn't receive like quite the. I wish like it had been viewed more. I wish there had been more engagement, because it was just very quickly. It was one and done. It was there and then it was gone. Nothing lingering, I guess. And like I don't know what would have lingered. I guess I just had wished like more people had seen it and reacted to it. But yeah, that happens a lot where it's like I put in a lot of time and effort, at least relative to what I normally would, and I'm excited about something. And then people like don't care, or they really underplay it, and then it's like, oh well, why did I even care then? So I'd say those kinds of things. If you and your bestest buddy Hark, that's Angel Arts by the way, could collaborate on something in the future, what would you want it to be? You were not being self-serving at all, right? No, my favorite thing that I've ever done with you, Angel Arts, has been Pokemon Spectrum. And for those of you watching this who aren't aware of what Pokemon Spectrum is, Angel Arts, he does this thing where he'll have a tabletop campaign and he'll record it, and he's a great DM, he's a great storyteller, and it encourages a lot of like great role play. And records it and uploads it to YouTube with some editing, and it's a great time. And yeah, Pokemon Spectrum was one of those. It was a Pokemon tabletop roleplay game, and I was, I had the honor of taking part in it. I played Cassandra Pine, and it was a great time. And that would be the thing that I would want to collaborate on again in the future, Park. I'd like to be a player again at some point in, like a series that I was familiar with, a series that I enjoyed or whatever, which who knows what that would be. Or maybe not if you were flexible, but that's a favorite thing that I've done with you, and that would be cool. So yeah. Is the current focus on older games a deliberate choice, or just what's catching your eye at present? Also, your own preference and display. Are there any visual novels on the table in the near future? So yeah, the older games, it was kind of like, it wasn't like I'm gonna play old games, but I was specifically choosing those because, like, I'd gotten a capture card to work, and I had the console there and ready, and I had the games there and ready, and it was like I want to share these games that I enjoyed, and that like I think that I will enjoy again, like, or playing again. In part because, at that point, motivation was starting to dwindle once more, right? And so having those games to actually be excited about, like, it was great. It was more, it made it easier to sit down and, like, do it, And I was looking forward to, again, like, sharing those experiences with people, because they were games that were meaningful to me. And there are some other games from that I was considering playing, and that I might still at some point, but like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, that was another game that I really enjoyed growing up, and I wanted to revisit it and be able to share that with people here. That's the same reason, I played Spyro Reignited Trilogy, because I grew up with the first 3 Spyro games. Um, yeah, so kind of deliberate, but not just for the sake of like, I'm going to play old games. It was more for the sake of like, I knew that I would like them, and I wanted something that I could be excited about, and I wanted to have those experiences with people. Um, and so it was a deliberate choice, but not for those reasons, or for that reason of it being an old game. Are there any visual novels on the table in the near future? There certainly could be. You and other people should let me know what visual novels you'd be interested in seeing, and then I can look into them. Because like I don't have any in mind specifically, but like I'm definitely not opposed to doing a visual novel. Is the channel purely a gaming one with the occasional reaction every few weeks, or do you have plans to do more reactions as you find more things that interest you? Yeah, I want my channel currently to be a gaming channel with just reactions occasionally, really because that's what people want, and because that's reactions are what sustain this channel as far as like money is concerned. So here's another little thing that might interest some people. This is a behind the scenes look, right? So I do make some money from YouTube, but not nearly as much as I used to. I used to make on average between $1,400 and $1,700 a month. The low end would be like 700. That would be like in February, because February was just a bad month for people apparently. And the highest I ever got was either 2,100 or 2,200. I don't remember, but like that was great. That was when I was at my peak with like death battle reactions and everything. And then it just gradually went down from there to the point where like I could no longer pay rent using using YouTube rather. Had to move back in with my parents and whatnot, or my mom specifically. And similarly, like I had a Patreon, and I still have a Patreon, by the way. You can check it out in the description. And for a while, like it was going well. Like a lot of people were supporting me, and it was awesome. And I was making like a good amount of money from that. Like not like an amazing amount of money, but it's like, yeah, no, thank you. I can sustain myself. Like not only can I like pay rent, and not only can I buy food, but I can actually like save a little. I can, purchase new equipment. I can purchase new games to play, which is kind of important for a Let's Player, So it was great. But now I'm making about $100 a month from YouTube, and I think a little less than that from Patreon. Thanks to a few, awesome supporters, who you can see in the end card of all of my videos. So I really appreciate your support. It's incredibly, like, you're basically doubling what I'm making from YouTube, so that's awesome. Like I wish I were making more. Like I wish that weren't doubling it, because that just means that like what I'm making from YouTube is so small, but it's appreciated all the same. Don't get the wrong idea. But yeah, the point is like I used to make a lot more from Patreon, and now I'm making, not as much. The point of this is, with just having a death battle reaction every week, so that's 4 videos a month, I'm making between $80 and $100. If I were also doing gameplay videos, so if I were having like 26 videos a month, I would be making like between $100 and $120. So, $20 is like 20 to 40. That's not insignificant given how little I'm making from my channel. But when you're also considering the fact that that's a difference of 22 videos a month, like that's so much more effort for me. And so when I'm already struggling with, various like motivational stuff or whatnot, it's a lot harder to get myself to do that much extra work for, that much payoff, right? So, yeah. How did I get started doing that? Oh, just like gameplay channel versus reaction channel. Okay, yeah. But there's your behind the scenes look. Like I don't love talking money, but like it's a very real thing that we're dealing with. So yeah, I paused my recording to go upstairs and grab a drink and a snack, and then I forgot to resume the recording when I came back. I had answered other questions. Let's restart with those questions. So this is from Goliath. He's a big supporter of me, of this channel, of my Patreon. So thank you, Goliath, for all that you've done. I appreciate you. So, are you still on hiatus on picking up requested games from viewers, or is it still the same idea that you'll get to them when you feel like it? Kind of neither. So like when you get to it when you'll feel like it, that has the implication to me that that a requested game is guaranteed to be played at some point, and that's definitely not the case. I love hearing requested games because it's really good for me to know what people are interested in, especially because I don't have like a huge knowledge, like a wide knowledge of different games that are out there, or like what's cool or whatever, right? And so I do like having requests because it helps me kind of like hone in on certain possibilities. But it certainly doesn't mean that I am going to play that game. It means that I might, but I don't want anyone to have the expectation, you know? It's been that way in the past, and it's still the way now, where it's like you can request anything that you'd like. You just can't expect me to do it because I don't want to disappoint you based upon that. So that's what it is. Question 2. What's your current setup for recording / playing games / PC and microphone specs, etc.? And how long did it take to get used to the current setup you have? So as far as like this room setup, I'm still getting used to it. You might notice like things still change from like video to video as far as like what I have in my background or whatnot, or even how I edit videos. Like in the last couple death battles, you know, I've had like these sidebars blurred out, and I'm pretty sure in this video too that's the case. Just so like the focus is on me, and it covers some of the clutter or like some of the mess, because like so I have OBS open now over here, so yeah. Like down there, like I have water damage on the molding, I think is what it's called, the white part, the trim at the bottom, you know. And I just need to paint over it because like I've cleaned the mold, but like it's just gross looking because water damage. But I haven't got around to cleaning it or to painting it, and I don't know if or when I will. And so like, you know, the blur I think helps a little bit, that kind of thing. But I'm still getting used to the setup is the point. For like my actual like hardware, I'm using an ROG Strix, what is it, GL50VS or something? Let me pull up my system information. GL52VS laptop with a GTX 1060 graphics card and, you know, Intel Core i7 6700 HQ processor. I don't know enough about processors to know how much of that information is important, but yeah. For recording, so first, my microphone. This is a Shure MV7, I think, which is like, it's inspired by Shure's SM7B microphone, but that one is strictly XLR. This is XLR or USB, and I don't have like an audio interface or an audio mixer, you know, so I just use it strictly USB plug and play. But it's served me well so far. I was kind of disappointed when I first got it because there was some quality of like the Yeti microphone that that I missed, but you know, this has grown on me now, the sound of it, so I'm happy with it now. My software, I use OBS because it's free. It allows you to stream or record. You could technically record straight away with like, you know, set up a face cam and the gameplay, and you wouldn't really have to do editing aside from just like, you know, jumping from place to place. Just, you know, jump cuts, that's what I'm saying. Or you could do it like how I've been doing it, where I just I make my canvas wider, so I have like the full, you know, 1920 by 1080p spot for my webcam, and then right beside it I have another 1920 by 1080p kind of thing for my game. And then when I'm editing, you know, then I can you know, do more with my webcam. Like when I want it to be a face cam, I can have it be a face cam. When I want it to be like the full webcam, you know, I can do that too. Just depends on how I want to, you know, edit like the aspect ratio and whatnot, the cropping, that kind of thing. So yeah, OBS has served me really well. Before that, I was using Bandicam like a good while before, you know, but it was more limited, and you actually had to pay for it. Like per device, you had to pay like a one-time fee. But yeah, OBS has served me really well, so quite happy with that. And I think that's really all. Oh, for my editing software, I can say that too. I'm using Movie Studio 14 Platinum. Movie Studio, they were purchased by Magix from like, you know, Sony Vegas. People might be more familiar with that, like Vegas Pro, you know. Movie Studio is like a baby version of Vegas, basically. But it, you know, it does all that I need it to. Like there have been times where it's like I really wished it had more like masking options or things like that. But for the most part, it does what I need it to. So yeah, that's been good. And I think it's only like $50 or something. I remember being cheap. And like I think they're up to 17 or something now, maybe even higher. Since, you know, I'm on 14, so that makes sense. But yeah. Question number 3. Ever thought about setting up a Discord server for yourself and subs to chill together? Like, kind of, mostly just because you and I think some other people have brought it up in the past. But I'm hesitant for a number of reasons. First and foremost is just like the depression, anxiety stuff, where, you know, I'll imagine the worst case scenarios, and that's never a good thing. But like, I'm not always available to chat, like either physically or just mentally, you know? And even from like my best friends, I can just disappear and just hermit away for like 2 weeks where like I don't send any message, you know? Um, and you know, it would feel really awkward doing that to like people who are there to support me, you know, like from my YouTube channel or whatever. And then on the flip side, if people didn't want to chat with me, then I'd be like, oh no, like, you know, further imposter syndrome kind of thing. So yeah. But another thing I really worry about is the moderation because, you know, because of the fact that I can't commit necessarily to like constantly looking at the server just because of like emotional burnout and stuff like that. I would be worried about like bad things happening on the server, whether raids or, you know, like inappropriate DMs being shared. You know, I'd hate for like some sort of messed up grooming situation or something to happen. I just feel like totally bad and responsible and stuff. And yeah, so, you know, just between those things, I've never set up a Discord server. Who knows? Maybe someday.